Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video we shall be learning how to cut a long pencil skirt. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe to my channel and also like and share this video. So let's get into the tutorial, guys. So I'll be taking my measurements from the lower part because this is where I want this side, this flowered side, to be at the lower part of the skirt. So now I'm gonna be marking 1.5 inch for seam allowance. So this 1.5 inch is so that the fabric can fold to the lining. So from this point now, I'll take the skirt measurement. So from this point now, the skirt measurements I'm working with is 41 inches. But because I'll be putting band on the skirt, so I'll minus 1.5 from 41 inches. So if you minus 1.5 from 41 inches, you have 39.5. So 39.5 is what I'll be measuring here. So I'll take my 39.5 measurement all around. Then I'll rule it. So from this 39.5, you have to take half an inch for seam allowance for joining the band back to the skirt. So I'll just take my half an inch seam allowance. So I've taken the half an inch seam allowance. So the next thing to do now is to determine the hip line, the hip point. So now from this half an inch, like after the half an inch here, you take the 1.5 inch for the band, you take it upward like this, placing it on after this half an inch here on the line. Can you see how I placed it? Then you measure. So now I'll go ahead and take the vertical measurements from the waist to the hip, waist to knee, and waist to the length of your skirt. Then I'm taking the dart measurement. So the length of the dart, how to determine that, you stop 2 inches before your hip line. Okay, that's where your dart will stop, 2 inches before your hip line. Then I mark out the dart. Then I took half an inch on both sides of the dart. Then after doing that, then I ruled it out, just like what I'm doing right now. Then you go ahead and take the horizontal measurement. You take your waist measurement plus the dart you removed from the waist and also your seam allowance. Then your hip as well, you take your hip measurement plus your seam allowance. I think I used 1.5 seam allowance. And at the knee area, to determine what you use for the nail, because it's a pencil skirt, you remove 1 inch from your hip measurement and then insert it at the knee area. So whatever you insert at the knee area is what you insert at the length of the skirt as well. You can see what I'm doing. So if you want to remove more than 1 inches, you can remove it. So I go from the hip, you can use 1.5, you can use 1, you can use 2 inches. You can remove 2 inches from your hip and insert it to the waistline, and then you rule out all the marks. I already placed the front on the front bodies on the back bodies. So this is the back, and this is a zipper allowance of 1.5 inches. So the initial zipper allowance I need is 1 inch. So the half an inch is to turn the lining with the fabric. So I'll be left with 1 inch. So I have 1.5 zipper allowance here. So now I'll place the front on the back as well to cut it together. Then I'll now move. So I'll now move to the back bodies. So now I'm done cutting. You are not going to cut this one, okay? Because this is the folding allowance for the skirts, for the hem line of the skirts. So now I have my back bodies here. Okay, so now from the waist, remember when you're measuring, you take your 1.5 inch away after the half an inch allowance, below the half an inch allowance here. That's where you place your 1.5. Then you measure your knee line. Remember the knee line I'm working with, the knee length I'm working with is 23 inches. So this 23 inches is going to serve as where your slit is going to start from. That's where you're going to slit, your slit to start from. But if you want to move properly, just like the way we do in our pencil skirts, you can just come upward by either 1 inch or 2 inches. And when you do that, that means the length of your slit will increase. But if you don't want the length of your slit to increase, you can just stop at your knee measurements, or you can measure 1 inch, half an inch, 1 inch, 2 inches upward. So I'll just come upward by half an inch. So I'll come up by half an inch here. So this is my half an inch here. So now I want to do something around here, because by the time I join this place, I don't want the seam to be showing outside. So now what I'm going to do is from the slit length here, I'll come out by half an inch. I'll come out by half an inch. So this is the half an inch measurement. So what that means now is I'll start cutting from here to this place. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'll start cutting from here to this place. So what will be left here is just the zipper allowance, okay? So by the time I start stitching, by the time I want to stitch, I will take in this half an inch. This half an inch will be out, okay? So when you see the skirts outside, when you see the right side of the skirt, it will look like an invisible finishing by the time you are done. So I'll just cut it now. So I will also slit this zipper allowance open. So what that means is this zipper allowance is not extending to the slit. It won't extend. It's only ending from the waist here to the knee line here. So from the knee line up to the hem line, your zipper allowance will not extend to the place. So I will slit this place open. So I'm done opening. So now I'm also going to take this so I'm also going to take the dart measurement for this place as well. Okay. So the same thing we measured here, 4 inches. So I'm also inserting the dart for the back as well. So to know where the dart for the back will stop, then you stop 1 inch before the hip. The back dart is always longer than the front. So then I also took half an inch on both sides. Then I ruled it out. I'm done with the pencil straight skirt cutting. So the same way you cut the skirt is the same way the fabric is the same way you cut the lining. And also don't forget the band. So when you're cutting the band is 1 inch wide, 1.5 inch wide. So that means when you're cutting, you are cutting on fold. When you open it up, you have 3 inches. When you close it, you have 1.5. So you can cut you can cut it in pieces, that is one for this one and one for the other side, and also one for the front, and then you can join, or you can just join your skirt together, and after joining, then you measure your round waist and then cut a long band and then attach it around the waist. Anyone that is easy for you, just go with it. So for the M line here, I left 1.5 inch here. The 1/2 inch is for joining the fabric and the lining together, while the remaining 1 inch is the one that will fall back on the skirt. It will fall back on the skirt. So when you are cutting your lining must be 2 inches shorter than your fabric, because the 1 inch is the one that will fall back on the fabric. So your lining must be 2 inches shorter than your fabric. If it is 2 inches that will fall back on your fabric, your lining will be 4 inches shorter than your fabric. So now I will cut the lining as well. Then I will take to my sewing machine and join together, and then show you the final look of our pencil straight skirts. So guys, this is the skirt. I've already cut out the band, so I stitched the band on it. So, and this is the back bodies. I've already inserted my zipper. So coming back to this place I was explaining when I was cutting, I don't know if you remember this place I told you about, that I said the 1/2 inch seam allowance will not extend to the slit and also to the M line. It's stopping around the knee line here. So I took the seam allowance from the waist up to the knee length here. So I stopped here. So this is where the slit is. So if I open it up now, this is what I have. Can you see the slit now? So this is the slit. So now I'll go ahead. Can you see? This is the slit. Can you see? The stitches are not showing outside. Okay, so guys, I'll take it, I'll go and join. I'll place the front now on the back to go and stitch it together, and then I'll show you how it looks. The size of my mannequin is smaller than the skirt, so I had to make the skirt fit into the mannequin. So guys, this is all about the skirt. This is the back view of the skirt, and I hope you find this video helpful. And if you find it helpful, kindly like and share this video, and also please subscribe to this channel so as to get more tutorials from me. So guys, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.